Hello. In this video, we will be discussing about the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga. Now, Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is an extremely auspicious yoga or combination which is formed when any of the planets other than the Sun and Moon, and of course we are not including Rahu and Ketu out of the 9 planets. So if any of the 5 planets, which are Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Mars, and Venus, if any of these 5 planets are sitting in the Kendra house, any of the Kendra house or the angle house from the ascendant, in their own zodiac signs, meaning which in either of the 2 signs which they own, then this extremely auspicious yoga or combination of Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed. So for example, if Jupiter is sitting in the Kendra or angle from the ascendant in any of its signs of Sagittarius and Pisces, then this Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed. Similarly, in case Saturn is sitting in the angle or Kendra house from the ascendant in any of the 2 zodiac signs which it owns, which are Capricorn and Aquarius, then this Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed. Similarly, if Mercury is sitting in any of the angle or Kendra house from the ascendant in any 2 of the zodiac signs which it rules, which are Gemini and Virgo, then this combination of Panch Mahapurusha Yoga forms. Similarly, in case if Mars is sitting in any of the Kendra or angle house from the ascendant in any of the zodiac sign which it rules, which are Aries or Scorpio, then also this Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed. Similarly, if Venus is sitting in the angle house or Kendra house from the ascendant in any of the 2 zodiac signs which it owns or rules, which are Taurus and Libra, then this Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed. So these are the 5 conditions when a Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed. Also, other than these planets sitting in their own signs in the angle or Kendra houses, the other condition also, not the condition, but in another situation also, this Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed, and that situation is in case these 5 planets, even if they are not sitting in their own signs which they rule over in the Kendra, even if they are sitting in their exaltation signs, then also this Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed. For example, in case Jupiter is sitting in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is one of the Kendra houses or angle houses from the ascendant, then this Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is formed. Similarly, Saturn, if Saturn is sitting in the zodiac sign of Libra, which is its exaltation sign in the Kendra, then also Panch Mahapurusha Yoga condition is fulfilled. Similarly, if Mercury is sitting in its exaltation of sign of Virgo in a Kendra or angle from the ascendant, this Panch Mahapurusha Yoga condition is fulfilled. Also, going to Mars, in case Mars is sitting in its exaltation sign of Capricorn in a Kendra or angle house from the ascendant, the condition of Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is fulfilled. Similarly, in case Venus is sitting in an angle house or a Kendra house in its exaltation sign of Pisces, then also the condition of Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is fulfilled. So these are the conditions which form the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga. Now, as far as the names of these Panch Mahapurusha Yoga is concerned, in case Mercury is involved in forming the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga, it is called Bhadra Yoga in Sanskrit. Similarly, in case if Venus is involved in forming the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga in a Vedic chart, it is called the Malavya Yoga in Sanskrit. In case Mars is involved in forming the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga in the Vedic chart, it is called the Ruchaka Yoga in Sanskrit or in Vedic astrology. In case Jupiter is involved in forming the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga in a Vedic chart, it is called the Hamsa Yoga in Sanskrit or Vedic astrology. And in case the planet Saturn is involved in forming the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga in a Vedic chart, then it is called the Sasa Yoga in Vedic astrology or in Sanskrit. So these are the names related to these 5 planets when they form the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga, and I've already explained you what are the conditions to be fulfilled to form this highly auspicious yoga, which is called the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga. And all this is coming from the ancient Vedic scriptures. The purpose of this video is to make sure that we go down into the basics and discuss Vedic astrology as it was given to us by the ancient sages and the ancient scriptures, which may be a compilation of the teachings of those ancient sages, so that we know that we are practicing Vedic astrology the right way, because there are a lot of so-called Vedic astrologers out there who come up with their own imaginative ideas by mixing Western astrology with Vedic astrology, and as a result of which the predictions are not accurate. Now, according to Saravali, and Saravali is an ancient compilation of Vedic astrology. It is an authority as well on Vedic astrology. Saravali says that as we just discussed about the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga from the ascendant, Saravali says that if we consider the conditions of the formation of the Panch Mahapurusha Yoga, not just from the ascendant but also from the moon, then also it forms a Panch Mahapurusha Yoga. So earlier we discussed that the conditions we were discussing from the ascendant or the Lagna, but Saravali, which is, like I said, also an authority on Vedic astrology, it says that the Panch Mahapurusha yoga can also be formed if these conditions are fulfilled, not just from the ascendant but also from the moon sign. And it makes a lot of sense because, as we know, that moon is the closest to the earth, and it is considered a planet in Vedic astrology. Maybe in astronomy it may not be, but in Vedic astrology it's concerned a planet. So that planet moon exerts a powerful influence on ourselves, our lives. So we have to look at these yogas and these conditions from the moon sign as well, or where the moon is situated, or considering the ascendant where the moon is situated. So that becomes a moon ascendant or moon Rashi. So this is what Saravali has explained us, that look from the ascendant about the Panch Mahapurusha yoga and also from the moon. Now also there is another Vedic scripture which is Phaladipika, and that is also coming hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It's a compilation of the teachings of sages on Vedic astrology. So Phaladipika says that in case there is one such yoga in a person's birth chart, it makes a person extremely fortunate. In case there are two such yogas, meaning which if two planets out of these 5 planets which we discussed, which are Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, or Saturn, if two planets or 2 planets will make 2 yogas in a Vedic chart of a person, it can make that person equal to a king. In case he has 3 yogas, meaning which if 3 planets out of these 5 planets are involved in making this Panch Mahapurusha yoga, then that person will be equivalent to a bigger king. And in case 4 planets are involved in making this Panch Mahapurusha yoga, then he can go up to the level of an emperor's stature. And in case all 5 planets are involved in forming the Panch Mahapurusha yoga, meaning which all the conditions are fulfilled and a person has Bhadra yoga, Malavya yoga, Ruchika yoga, Hamsa yoga, and Sasa yoga, and we've already discussed those conditions, then a person can be even superior to an emperor. So that has been said in the ancient scripture of Vedic astrology called Phaladipika. So this is what we have discussed about the formation of this highly auspicious yoga. Now there are certain conditions where this yoga or this auspicious yoga could be cancelled. So you could see a Vedic birth chart with these yogas, or 1 yoga, or 2 yoga, or 3 yogas out of the 5 Panch Mahapurusha yoga. Panch means 5 in Sanskrit. So out of these 5, even if a person has 1 or 2, it makes him extremely fortunate according to the scriptures. However, in certain cases you would see that this yoga is not giving the desired results which have been promised in these scriptures. And there could be reasons, because there are conditions where this yoga can be cancelled. And one of the conditions when this yoga or the Panch Mahapurusha yoga can be cancelled is that if any planet which is forming this Panch Mahapurusha yoga is conjunct or aspected by either sun or moon, then this may cancel this yoga, and this has been mentioned in Phaladipika. So we have to see the ineffectiveness of this yoga as well, because we just cannot see a planet, oh okay, well this planet is forming a Panch Mahapurusha yoga because it's sitting in its own sign in the Kendra from either the ascendant or the moon sign, or it's exalted sitting in the Kendra or the moon sign, or in the Kendra or the angle house from either the ascendant or the moon sign, and this is not giving the desired results. So we have to see why it is being not fulfilling its promise. And one of the reasons we discussed is either it should not be conjunct with either sun or moon, or it should not be aspected by either sun or moon. Also, the ineffectiveness of this yoga will come only when the exalted planet, if the exalted planet is strong, it's well placed, and it's not afflicted by any other malefic planet, or if it's not combust, and we've already discussed combustion with sun, but if it's not afflicted with any other malefic planet. Say for example, if Saturn, or for example if Mars is forming a Ruchaka yoga in a person's birth chart, and if, say for example, Rahu is afflicting Mars very badly, then this yoga will not fructify, or it will not give the desired results. So we have to see that this yoga will only fructify or give the desired results if it's the planet or the dispositor is unafflicted. Now we also see that we also have to see that these planets are pretty strong. They are not weak, and the weakness or strength of the planet we can discuss about in another video, and there are various ways of finding out the strength or the weakness of a planet, and Shadbal is one of those, and I don't want to get into those details right now because it may confuse you, but there are ways to find out the strength of a planet. Also, the Panch Mahapurusha yoga will also fructify if they are in the benefic houses. So of course angle houses are benefic, but sometimes those houses can become not benefic as well. See for example, from an example point of view, if I were to give you an example rather, if a Panch Mahapurusha yoga is formed from an ascendant, and that particular zodiac sign is an extremely inauspicious zodiac sign from the moon sign, then it may cancel some of its effectiveness. So there are certain things where we have to see why this yoga may not give the desired results. So it is an extremely auspicious yoga, and a lot of people have this yoga, and a lot of people have complained that yes, we have this yoga in their charts, but it's not giving the results, and this is the reason why it may not be giving the results, which we just discussed. It may be weak, it may be not owning an auspicious house from the moon sign if we are considering it from the ascendant, or it may not be having an auspicious house from a point of view of ascendant if we are considering a Panch Mahapurusha yoga from the point of view of the moon as an ascendant, or we are considering the Panch Mahapurusha yoga from the moon, or it may be afflicted by malefic. So these are the various conditions why this yoga may not be effective, or and sometimes if it's highly afflicted, then it may be completely cancelled as well. So this was the discussion on Panch Mahapurusha yoga, and what I'll recommend is go through the charts, go through your charts and see if your planets are forming any kind of a Panch Mahapurusha yoga, and also very important, see if this combination of Panch Mahapurusha yoga is being cancelled or being rendered ineffective to some extent, to a large extent, or to a great extent because of the conditions which we just discussed. And then you'll have a clearer idea. But this pretty much described what a Panch Mahapurusha yoga is, and we'll be discussing about another topic in our next video. Thank you.